Why, hello there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. Dogboat333 and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, the New Order as Mexico. Now last time we were here together, well, we're starting to put together a little bid, Olympic in its scale. And I think it'll go okay. Maybe. Who knows? We might be able to get the bid at least. We'll not focus on that right now. Let's go ahead. Check out Torreon in the state of Coahuila? My 4 years of high school Spanish have not done me too well when it comes to the states of Mexico. A country rich in history that predates Columbus, the city of Torreon, founded in 1907, may seem like a mere speck on the timeline. However, explosive population growth due to the railroad and repeated battles, including Pancho Villa, put the city on the map. More infamously, it also marked the beginning of the persecution of Chinese citizens, or pogrom against this community led to the decimation of the Asian minority. Today, one of the biggest cities in Coahuila, Torreon, is riding high on textiles, clothing, and metal production. Irrigation has also built up farming and cotton processing in the area. And like any North TNO city, ranching is only a stone's throw away. Not bad for what was, in living memory, a town of 290. Oh. Except Saltillo. The city of Saltillo, the capital of the state of Coahuila, lying in the semi-arid climate of the northern reaches of Mexico. The city is nestled in an oasis surrounded by harsh deserts to the northwest and east. Founded in 1577 by conquistadors settling the north of New Spain, the city grew due to its location as an entry into the royal domains of New Mexico and Texas. For much of its early history was made up of expelled natives working for Spanish merchants. When the first cities were taken in the War of Independence, it became the capital of Texas and Coahuila until the loss of Texas to the U.S. It lost more of its splendor during the American occupation, but it saw a rebound during the 1880s as it underwent rapid industrialization. When the first cities joined the Carrancitas during the Revolution, it eventually saw an occupation by the military junta that forced many to flee for the U.S., once more sending the city into decline. By 1962, the city has recovered much from its troubles in the first half of the 20th century. Despite being a smaller city now, it's seen waves of investment from American corporations, which see this as a sign of the changes to come from Mexico in the second half of the 20th century. Well, there we go. Oh. There goes the despot of Colombia. When perched atop the bulldozer, the destination of the Chantal Maya village was a plain to Carlos Madrazo. He took in the bare feet and cramped rectangular houses, the threadbare clothes, and solemn faces. Centuries of alternating neglect and hostility from the capital and here in Tabasco to reduce these people to backwardness and misery. But that ended today. The governor drew the megaphone to his lips. Our state is firmly committed to social progress, especially to uplift the most needy citizens. It is my promise to you that no tool will go unused. No hands will be empty in our quest to bring you the fruits of a modern and prosperous way of life. Today we carry you on the first step of that long journey. Today we provide you with the fertile lands to feed your future. Madrazo directed the bulldozer forward, toppling the first tree of the wretched jungle that hemmed in the village. Even over the engine's roar, he heard the applause and cheers of construction workers. What Madrazo did not hear, what he could not understand, were the whispers and Yokotan by the watching villagers, whispers that asked what they would do without the jungle that provided the palm wood for their houses and crafts, whispers that asked what they would hunt as the village men had for generations, whispers that asked what would be stolen from them next. They will never leave us in peace. Lopez Mateos embraced Larrazabal, who stuck up a golden smile, and Castro, dressed in his trademark green fatigues, with the press corps flashing cameras. Larrazabal was certainly jovial, captured laughing, and trading witticisms with journalists and Castro in particular. The mood in the meeting room was equally jovial, though it started to drag a little in Lopez Mateos' mind. Larrazabal was a brilliant talker, yes, but to the point where he could say a lot without actually saying anything tangible. I'm a big supporter of this sort of cooperation. I am. I think it's a good thing. I'm all for it. But what I'm concerned about is what it means. What does it mean? Larrazabal cradled a glass of brandy. Castro shot a pointed look at Lopez Mateos, who spoke up. A power block that will keep imperialism out of South America. An anti-colonial vanguard. We can't afford another Trujillo, can we? Larrazabal's cheery demeanor hardened, his brow straining. You needn't remind me, Excellency, but I'm interested in specifics. Castro perked up in his seat, pouring out brandy for himself and more for Larrazabal. What my friend, His Excellency, is trying to say, El Presidente, is that it'll take the form of an official, say, movement of nations, a forum. Lopez Mateos plucked the carafe for his own pleasure. All we need is your assistance. Glancing at Larrazabal, who seemed to shift in his seat. His thoughts were obscured beneath the facade of a genial, easygoing smile. Pensive silence. Then, gentlemen, you have Venezuela. They christened the Veracruz Forum with a toast. Oh, look at that. We get Mexico, or Cuba, in our economic sphere. And some extra political power. Very nice. We will do that. With that, we'll expand some power lines here first. Yeah. Got a focus to do. Almost forgot about that. Let's hide the injuries. Mexico's made great strides under Lopez Mateos, yet wounds remain. The state government of Guerrero failed to contain large-scale and escalating student demonstrations last year and was accordingly dissolved under federal authority. The military has put down the protests, but the situation remains fragile. We'll contain the situation and uphold our reputation by making sure not a word about Guerrero appears in print, on radio, or on the television until stability returns and bloodstains fade. To hasten that day's arrival, a fresh batch of agents from the Directorate of Federal Security, or DFS, will track down and arrest a few dissidents who still evade our reach. That's down here, right? Yep. I might have to read that soon, depending on when it's happening. What does this do again? Where's really struggling in unemployment? Could use it in the Southwest, I think, most. Let's do... where it is. There we are, state industry. And the Southwest. Change the color a little bit. I like it. The campaigners crowded around Enrique as he smoothed out another crinkled sheet, converting its plethora of tally marks into firm numbers. The light from the setting sun was too dim for them to view the results of the combined polls, though many continued to try. Those like Sebastian, who looked instead at Enrique's face, only found a rigid mask of concentration. After what felt like an eternity, the young man set his pencil down and faced the audience. 36%. Enrique said in a triumphant grin. As a triumphant grin spread across his features, the room erupted. Was he sure? Yes, he triple-checked. Yes, he had accounted for the different sizes of each polls and the varying populations of the neighborhoods and towns. As he dispensed with their objections one by one, a stud audience descended on the room. And then a shout. Several whoops cheered as Enrique clambered onto his chair, thrusting the results in the air. We did this! Our sweat, our wars, they're on every page here. Through the applause and whistles that followed, Sebastian roared, I've got something to say. Eyes turned from the teetering youth to the elderly veteran. I was here in 46 when we got 1%. when we got 8% of 52. Every miserable election since. And that's the first number that doesn't sound like shit. Tecates are on me! 36 for each of us. Pan was in the race, not to win a majority in the state government, no, but to be a voice for clean, accountable, democratic politics in Baja. One incapable of being ignored. Go forth and multiply. I'm a little annoyed that some of these only appear to help certain areas here. Here we go. The last manifesto of Ruben Jaramillo. To many of Mexico's rural peasantry and poor, Ruben Jaramillo is a living symbol of liberation, of freedom from the shackles of ranchers and landlords, and resistance to the despotism of the PRI, the last original Zapatistas. Joining the ranks of revolution at age 14, he has consistently fought for land reform in his home state his whole life, struggling to obtain the rights promised in the 1970 Constitution. But those in the PRI and Mexican governments, he's the constant thorn in the side of the presidency, carrying out multiple revolts in his home state of Morelos over the last 2 decades with a radicalized, belligerent band of loyalists known as the Jaramillistas. Despite receiving amnesty and concessions multiple times, he remains steadfast in the face of injustice against the working class, something that has painted a target on his back, or increasingly frustrated Lopez Mateos and the DFS. Despite this, field revolutionaries re-emerge once more for International Workers' Day, presenting his last manifesto for all to see, damn the consequences. And he denounces the government's efforts to suppress him and details the coming years as a pivotal moment for the struggle of the working class of Mexico against the corrupt and ineffective PRI government, a government he states that has failed to fulfill the original promise of the Mexican Revolution. A rallying cry for the rural and working class alike. It is spreading like wildfire in newspapers and working class circles all throughout Mexico. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, the Army and DFS have decided that enough is enough, with an operation to kidnap and execute Jaramillo already in the works. A plan which would behead the Jaramillista movement before they could threaten Mexico ever again. The final cry of the old revolutionaries. Yikes. Agustin Olachea Avadas hunched over his desk, making his way through a mountain of forms and reports. He had remained in Guerrero after the dissolution of the state government last year. Officially, he was there to support the interim governor appointed by the president. In practice, the day-to-day business administration ran through Olachea's office in the state government building in Chilpancingo. A knock at the door offered a moment's respite from the interminable legalese. "Come in." Balding Colonel Gate stepped into his office, holding a manila envelope under his arm. He gave a crisp salute. "General Olachea, sir." "At ease. What do you have for me?" "Reports from the 27th base outside Acapulco. The additional battalion arrived without incident. The full report is in the folder." "Thank you, Colonel." "I flipped through the articles you brought from the Diario de Guerrero. Make sure they can't buy any more paper until they've been brought in line." "You're dismissed." Once the colonel left, Olachea opened the folder and leafed through the report. The garrison was in a dire state. Their equipment was outdated as anywhere else in the country. Spare parts to repair broken vehicles and weapons were scarce. Shipments of food saw frequent delays. The men would not starve, but they would always be hungry. It was hard to keep his mind from Acapulco. Just 10 kilometers from the base, the jet set off with the OFN and Speer, slept in American hotels, and drank and dined in Japanese restaurants. Just as soon as their money came in, it was funneled back out to the countries they had arrived from. 50 years after the revolution, and Mexico was still an ulcer that bled wealth. Spineless officials at every level of government shook hands with foreign kleptocrats, while the people of Mexico sweltered in the fields and the factories. Olachea sighed, poured himself a drink, and got back to work. Like Saturn, the revolution devours its children. Well, we have the Olympic dream, at least. Lopez Mateos has saved the world, but that is not enough for him. His dream is not for his name to be recognized. It is that one day everyone will be able to point to Mexico on a map. He understands that his dream is not something he can do alone, and recognizes that this work will not even end in his presidential term. Mexico must be in everyone's mind by the end of a decade, and for that he will need to start something bigger than himself. Something bigger than even Mexico. To truly captivate the world, he needs something with a story, tradition, and millions of people eager to see. He needs the Olympics. He might not be the president when the Olympics of '68 happens, but he will lay the groundwork for a successor to capture the world's attention and prove that Mexico is more than just a neighbor of the United States. Now, how do we convince the committee? The paper was so full of tasks only Ordaz could do, handwritten by Lopez Mateos like so many of its predecessors. But as the president's hand glided down to sign, it slowed. It wavered. It halted. Could Ordaz really do it? He certainly could handle security threats or corral party members. Gustavo was an unrivaled Secretary of the Interior. But could he be the president Mexico needed? Lopez Mateos sighed. In '58, he would choose to know Ordaz to succeed him in a heartbeat. '59, too. Every month of the year until that damn standoff in the North Pacific. Had Ordaz always been so foolish, so bullheaded and hawked to the U.S.? Or had something broken his old ally's mind? Whatever the case, Gustavo's previously impeccable record was blotted. The president swore. So was his previously impeccable notes. The pen had leaked all over the bottom half. As he tried to recreate his work on a fresh sheet, he thought about alternatives. If there was some decent figure on the party's left, a new Lopez Mateos. But no. The left was all in shambles and could not organize itself, let alone Mexico. Ortiz Mena and his technocrats had done a hell of a job with the economy of this growth and made Lopez Mateos' ambitions for the education and welfare possible. Could it be pushed further by their bold policies? But they were men with numbers in their veins and cold hands. Lopez Mateos saw that his hands had left the New Age smudge and streaked with spilled ink as well. It had all been so clear before. Ordaz's influence weakened. The battle for succession decision category has been unlocked. Oh, here we go. Huh. El Tapado. Under the PRI, Mexico's perfected democracy. Many parties compete in election, but only one, ours, wins. Accordingly, whoever is chosen by the PRI to serve as a candidate in the upcoming federal elections will serve as our nation's next president. The party's nomination process has also been perfected. Following potentially fatal schisms in contested elections in the 40s and early 50s, genuine inter-party discourse has been smothered, replaced with strict presidential control. The president selects his successor with a single mighty finger, the so-called El Tizado, and the party leaves to support his decision. But who is the lucky one at the apex of the president's graces? Into whose hands will be placed Mexico's fate? From the halls of power to elite dining rooms nationwide, I'll speculate as to the identity of this mystery man, this El Tapado. Every wag in Mexico City offers a whispered opinion. Every advisor jostles for attention and rank. A select few even seek to befriend the president himself to curry favor. But only one is next in line. Only one is El Tapado. El Tapado enjoys talking to professionals. Okay, so currently the president's opinion of Ordaz is below average. The opinion of Salinas is average. The president's opinion of leftist and nationalists is extremely negative. Jesus. Let's see what we got. Gustavo Díaz Ordaz is my Secretary of the Interior, my companion from early in my political career, my strong right-hand man, the one who has led my administration and my country together for 6 long years, my friend, and my former choice for president. Oh, wow, this is interesting. Special Relation Weekend. Gustavo Díaz Ordaz has been my right-hand man, friend throughout my sexennial. I thought he was the most reliable secretary of my cabinet. And then came the crisis. He directly undercut me as the leader of Mexico and nearly ruined our chance to not only save the world, but cement us as the heroes of peace, the neutral power in this madness of imperialist hysteria. We see who people are in our most adverse moments. And now I'm not sure if Ordaz could ever be what I thought he was. Ordaz's position. As Secretary of the Interior, Ordaz is the second most important person in Mexico. This position oversees the presentation of bills and decrees to Congress as well as in the law enforcement throughout the nation. If I am indisposed, he is the provisional leader of Mexico, according to the Constitution. With a large following behind him, this makes him the politically powerful on his own, both within the PRI and in the government itself. Next, the American connection. Ordaz seems to have a lot of friends up north. Somehow he's able to make ties and call in favors from D.C., regardless of how he got there, and I think I know how. This is not to be underestimated. Economic deals with the U.S. have helped bring massive growth to our country. And besides, a good relationship with someone, or sometimes friend, sometimes enemy, is beneficial to Mexico. Secretary of Industry and Commerce, Salinas Lozano, is one of my economic ministers. A capable and ambitious northerner, he clearly seeks to demonstrate his mettle and gain my favor. Relative to the newcomer to the PRI, I will still consider him an potential option, if only to keep Ordaz on his toes. First, we have the cold technocrat. Salinas brings decades of economic experience to his role as Secretary of Industry and Commerce, and it has shown. He has ably implemented the developmentalist policies that have kept the rapid growth and low inflation of the Mexican miracle going strong. Smoothly interfering between government and both national and foreign businessmen, he's established a network of valuable contacts and a reputation for getting the job done. That said, only a narrow clique of economists get excited about Raul's plans to bolster Mexico's growth by industrializing alongside Japanese lines. Our party and the broader populace range from uninterested to actively hostile. I doubt the man's dry manner can win them over either. Without that backing or the means to attain it, Salinas does not have what it takes to be president. Next, our man in Japan. Salinas has made a name for himself within my administration as the foremost advisor for the stronger ties with Japan and the spear. Not only an informed voice on policy decisions, the Secretary has shown a deft diplomatic touch by accumulating connections with Tokyo's political and business establishment. Both approaches have borne through it as he shepherds foreign investment from Zaibatsu's and other Japanese firms into Mexico, while helping our own companies expand their cross-Pacific exports. His work has lowered our trade deficit and supported our continued growth, all while diversifying the economy from reliance on the U.S. The latter is vital for it to maintain our sovereignty and not become a tool or plaything of the giant astride astride our northern border. Accordingly, we may need to rely on this link of Salinas as this bridge to Japan. So we have the left. The left still believes the revolution's road culminates in socialism. They have the right intentions and occasional good ideas, but their unwillingness to accept governance as necessary compromises has caused me endless headaches. At least they stand with the PRI. For now. I feel the smoke effect of this. That's actually really clever. We have Cardenas' shreds first. The Cardenista movement within the PRI is a big tent, but a worn and ragged one. Hungry workers demanding more pesos, indigenous farmers demanding the ejidos they were promised, old soldiers demanding the young ears listen to their tales of revolution, nationalists demanding that we drive out foreign influence, damn the consequences of our economy. Well, until they patch that tent up, organize themselves in a practical manner, arrange a coherent platform, find an actual leader, they can just keep demanding. Because the modern PRI, the modern era, demands so much more of them. If leftists reach an opinion of one or more, a new contender for succession may appear. Next up, we have Cardenas' influence. For all his leftist griping, for all the trouble he's given me, I still admire General Lazaro Cardenas. What proper Mexican wouldn't? He broke free of Calles' puppet strings and sent the old Jefe Maximo packing. Realized the revolution's promises of land reform after so many years, took back the old that is rightfully ours from U.S. companies. Probably my greatest forebear this century. Thank goodness, then Cardenas has not sought a second 6-year term. If he were to run for president again, his political resurrection would divide our party and our country, spelling disaster for Mexico and the revolution. Setting aside, however, has weakened his ability to influence our party and deprives the PRI's leftist faction of a clear candidate. Did I already read this? I haven't yet, no. El Tapado is a elusive figure, better put, an elusive few figures. Only one man sees a full picture of El Tapado, the President of the United Mexican States. The President's notebook holds the information that will determine who will become El Tapado, while some thoughts on the men who would seek this position have already been put down. Progressing through the national focus tree and engaging in foreign diplomacy will give these few men more chances to prove themselves to the President, and as such will be recorded in the President's notebook. When the curtains draw, these men must have more opinion than their rivals, else they will be regarded as nothing more than has-beens. Interesting indeed. Oh. Well, it looks like we have run out of time. I'm gonna go ahead and leave things there, but thanks always for watching, gang. Like if you like. Just like if you didn't, leaving comments or feedback down in the comment section below. I read all the comments I get. I appreciate any feedback you might have for me. Check my various links down in the description box below. Leaving comments or feedback down in the comment section below. And yeah, I'm gonna go and leave it there. Thanks for always watching, gang. And I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.